I'm excited for this. We are joined here by Hamid. Hello, Hamid. How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Evan?
I am doing really well. It is a busy time. We are here, as you can tell by the title of this Spaces. We're going to be talking some earnings
Live
going on
stream,
right
not
now.
Spaces.
Did I say Spaces?
Yeah.
Wow, here we go. I'm so used to it. But yeah, we got some really big earnings coming up after the close today. Let me switch this over. Pull up the hub of earnings hub. And I am very excited for a couple of these names: Tesla, Google, ServiceNow, Chipotle, IBM. We have a really big afternoon of earnings incoming. And yeah, I want to talk with them a little bit. Before we actually go in, give some of our thoughts, let's look at what everyone is expecting here. Let me get rid of that. Maybe give you a little zoom in. It'd be embarrassing if you guys couldn't see my screen. You can see my screen, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you see here is what time the numbers are expected to come out. This is the revenue expectations. This is the EPS expectations. If we click in, you can see the trends of it as well. So we will click into a couple of them. But Tesla, Google, ServiceNow, Chipotle, IBM, all will be coming in within the first 10 minutes of the market closing. You can see what Wall Street's expecting here in revenue and EPS. Obviously, a lot of attention is going to be going towards Tesla, which does have a D score here. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit. So some of you want people watching this on.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate, Evan.
No, I know. So sometimes when I post the pictures, like I know stuff is incoming, but what is up? A couple people. We also got some comments. People in here, Knives and King of the Deep Sea. I like the creative ads. Go in and drop comments too on what you guys are looking at for these earnings. But obviously Tesla, which you look historically, does not beat its expectations that much on revenue and EPS compared to a Google, which is also reporting
for the past year or two. But
yeah.
One time
We'll
in the
dig deeper
last
in.
7 earnings, I believe, we beat on EPS.
This is what time you should expect the Google, and obviously a couple others. That was just a preview of the start. Let some of you guys come in here. Like I was saying, let us know in the chat any thoughts on the conversation we're having. G coming in here saying IBM, watching that one. Gav, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm very excited for these earnings. It's been an interesting start to earnings season. A couple of companies, obviously people talk about it's frothy, we're at all-time highs. You have a couple of companies that already reported earnings and saw a bit of a pullback, even with decent numbers. I know that there was a big pullback the other day on Lockheed Martin. I also was looking at a couple of the other main ones that had reported, such as Netflix, right? And so on and so forth. So I do think that this is, first off, an earnings season where people are paying a lot more attention to the numbers. We've had a couple of earnings seasons that have been a bit marred by tariffs, by all the political news. I think people are finally going to focus in on the numbers. And it's also a tough one right now because you still have a bit of uncertainty when you're giving your future guidance. And so I think that today really is kind of the real set the standard, because you have 2 different names here up top, right? And obviously there's several more, but with Google and Tesla, who can pave that way. Google, a lot of people take away from advertising, search, right? All types of numbers. And then Tesla is kind of one of a kind. And so I think that this is a really unique day when it comes to this entire year of earnings.
Yeah, totally agree. Evan, by the way, the way you use Earnings Hub in list mode totally throws me off. I'm like, what product is that? I almost never use Earnings Hub in list mode.
I agree. It is perfect for this type of day, though, which honestly, this is the prime time. So like, yeah, I spend most of my time like this on this mode.
Yeah.
Like this. Honestly, when we're like a month out, I'll spend some time here. But right. I as we're really in the craziness, anyone who's using Earnings Hub, I would suggest you try out this mode on the day. It is really nice so that if you want to look, hey, earnings coming up tomorrow morning, what is Wall Street expecting? Here's really easy. Here's the times, all one place. I love this view. Especially when it's getting crazy. So yeah, all the times. I also have this sorted by popular. So if we wanted to go to 1 billion, it will mess us up a little bit. I got it down. I also like that you can so easily see green and red. It just makes it easy after the numbers come out. But there's a lot more companies that are reporting today. Some that are a little bit smaller.
I have a question for Hamid. Hamid, it's been a huge focus over the last 2 years, really, when it comes to earnings for people to talk about AI. Right. There was that famous Satya Nadella call where they counted that he said AI, 100 plus times. And so you have 2 companies today that are pretty AI focused, obviously with Google and Tesla, they are starting to work it in deeper. Obviously, they have a separate xAI company that they work together with. When you listen to the calls today, what are you going to be most heavily focused on, and how much does AI focus into that?
I mean, okay, so like them just bringing up the word AI obviously is irrelevant, but with Tesla, we already know Elon's big bet is on robotaxis and Optimus, right? They basically have given up on the car business. It seems like it's kind of weird for them to have not had a new release of a car for the past more than a year, despite promises that there was going to be a cheaper car
Yeah.
coming. And then like they kind of reiterated that they were going to launch a new car.
I believe the language was they were going to show it off in the first half of the year, or maybe it was the middle, and we're pretty much
They
at
said
that
they were
point.
going to launch it in 2020.
Well, they did that.
No, I think it was
Model
wait,
Y.
No, yeah, that might be what it is, but that wasn't what I think. The exact language though was that they were going to show it off in the first half of the year, and they copy pasted. They put that in the first quarter, and then they copy paste that into the language in the second quarter. Let me get the exact
language has
one up
definitely
there.
changed though over the past year. But basically, the car business has been like stagnant, and Cybertruck demand kind of dried up. So the car business has been on a decline, which is unfortunate. But then all the bet is on robotaxis and Optimus. So I think the enthusiasm that Tesla shareholders have is all about the AI future that Tesla is bringing to life, and they're by far the leading company.
By the way, here is the language from this is a Q1 report that it said, and it said plans for new vehicles, including more Ford models, remains on track for start of production in first half of 2025. So Gav did mention that they did release a Model YL in China that was built on the same platform as the 7-seat
not released.
Yeah, they announced that they were going to do it. But that's probably what they're going to have to say here to fulfill that. But obviously, we are no longer in the first half of 2025, so there has to be some change here in like the product forward.
It's not going to be more affordable though. That one's going to be more expensive. So funny enough, the opposite direction.
So the vehicle business is not going to have revenue increase in 2025, possibly not even in 2026. Robotaxi business, which is launched, is expanding. Even with rapid expansion into new cities, I mean, it still takes time. 2026 revenues are still for robotaxis are still going to be sub 1 billion. But even if they miraculously reach $1 billion of revenue, or let's just say, $5 billion of revenue, just like an extreme case, that's still less than 5% of Tesla revenue. So revenue growth from robotaxis is not happening in the next 2 years, right? And I think I'm a broken record on this, where despite being a huge Tesla fan and despite thinking that Tesla is going to bring in the future, over the next 10 years, in the short term, it's going to be struggle bus for Tesla shares, in my opinion. So, and then Elon being all over the place is unhelpful, but like to me, that's just noise and distraction. So not that big of a deal. Yeah, go ahead, Evan. What were you going to say?
Yeah, before we keep going, I do want to jump in here. Like God put on the screen, make sure you let us know any comments in here. But I also can you introduce yourself for us a little bit, Hamid? Obviously, we've done a lot of the spaces. But I also sent this out to the people on my Instagram, so a lot of them should be joining in on the YouTube, and you never know. And some people might only be seeing you for the first time. So you could just introduce yourself, and I'd love to also like talk through we've had you on spaces for a long time, and I was talking about this when you were giving out the a play, which maybe we'll talk on the second half of this. I heard you talk about Robinhood at like 8, 9. I really don't want to invest in the broker business. I don't love the segment of it. I just ended up really enjoying Robinhood. I ended up getting in at like 30, 40, 50, but Hamid was there saying 9, and I had the thought, wow, this is dumb. And there was a couple other times that happened, and then it ended up going in his favor. So I've seen Hamid in real time make a lot of money in the investing game as well. So I would love to hear you introduce yourself a little bit. I know a lot of people have heard you talk about Tesla, might be like, oh, fuck this guy. Family-friendly show, no cursing. But no, I'm kidding. But just jump in.
I'll give you the 2-minute rundown on me. My entire background and a professional career has been around software. I love software. Started building software as a teenager. Fell in love with it. Wanted to always build a software company. Ended up doing that several times, and have had a couple of software exits. So I've been super fortunate in that regard. and my career started in the like mid '90s. So I've been building software products for a long time, and I've also been investing since the '90s. So I learned a lot of lessons in the dot-com boom and bust. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that valuations matter, right? So when you see a company trading at 100 times revenue, for example, or if they don't have revenue and they're trading at like obscene prices, that company can easily have like 90% drawdown on its stock price and still be a good company. And that can happen even to a good company. So even Amazon, for example, went down 95% during the dot-com bust, which is insane. But that means like it was just way overvalued at the time. So valuations matter, and so I learned those lessons by 2001, let's say, because I lost a pretty significant chunk of my investment portfolio in a very short period of time. But fortunately, investment was a side thing for me at the time, and it wasn't sort of like the main show. I was building software and software companies. And then starting in early 2000s, I always bought companies that I thought were very, very strong at a reasonable price, or even in some cases at an unreasonably cheap price, which is how Robinhood, for example, was a couple of years ago, when it was literally trading below the amount of cash that they had on hand. And that investment strategy has just like buying what I know, companies that usually I use their product, not always, but I know the industry well enough to sort of like be able to gauge it. And because software is sort of like my thing, I'm generally focused on software companies and tech companies in my investment thesis. So that's my background. I've been investing for now almost 30 years, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
Have done really well as an investor, have done really well building software companies, but been super fortunate. And the newest companies that I have or products that I have, software products, are Savvy Trader and Earnings Hub, which you were just showing off. So that's my background. And now mostly I'm an investor in the public markets. That's how I make my money. Not that I need to, but yeah.
Do you think when Vlad replied to you yesterday and you said Hood is 22% of my portfolio, he realized how much Hood that was?
Well, he can only see probably the portion that's in my Robinhood account, and he's like, well, that doesn't add up to 22%. But I have accounts with other brokerages as well, so I don't know if he knows or not, but yeah, it's a pretty substantial amount. Even for me, it's like 22% is a lot to be invested in one thing. But fortunately, most of that is because of the gain of Robinhood over the past couple years that I've been in it. I've actually now sold more than 100 and something like 150% of the amount of money that I put into Robinhood. I've sold that much. So if Robinhood went to zero tomorrow, I would have still made 50% on Robinhood. But it's still 22% of my portfolio, which is insane. That's also true about Rocket Lab, where I've sold more than I've put in. It's also true about Meta, and both of those are also significant portions of my portfolio, which is I've had a really, really good last few years.
Let's
I do want to talk about the earnings, and don't look at the spelling here because he tried to fix it in the next one. But we'll go with a question from the crowd. What do you think of Salesforce? Got any CRM? Hamid shoots for the 10Xs, so Salesforce might be a little bit too big. Yeah, but hasn't it not been? I don't think it's been doing too well. There might be a little value play there.
I haven't looked at them. I looked at them a long time ago, and I was never a happy customer of Salesforce. I used at one point I was a customer of Salesforce. I was never like an ecstatic customer of Salesforce. I was an ecstatic customer of Slack, and then when Salesforce bought Slack, I was very disappointed about that.
We just had a whole transition of a company that I work with, undisclosed, from Telegram to Slack. I'm having to get used to it.
Tough scene.
I need read receipts. That's one thing I liked about Telegram, but Telegram was too many scammers. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not I've never reevaluated Salesforce in the past several years. So, I know that the stock did really, really well for a long time there, but it's now a massive company. Click on them. What's the valuation now?
Good question.
$255 billion.
Sorry, I was on mute. 255 billion. I can zoom in on that. A B score.
Yeah, 25 PE. It's not bad. I mean, like the numbers are not
still growing
crazy,
pretty
but, like,
strongly.
it's also
actually,
not.
I mean, obviously not here, but for a large company, that's pretty good.
That's
And
EPS
revenue,
growth of 15%.
and revenue 8%.
Revenue is 8%. Yeah. So, like, for example, I'm way more excited about Google. Google is growing faster. It has lower PE.
Jeez.
So you look at Google, for example, it's growing at 13%, and for such a ginormous company growing at 13%, it's insane, and a PE of 21. Now, if Google changed its CEO, oh my God, this company would be freaking unbelievable. I mean, there's no reason why Google should not be the world's largest company by market cap, right? Like they certainly should be beating Apple, because Apple literally has nothing anymore in terms of innovation. It's unbelievable that they have not been able to catch up on AI. But Google is all it has all the technology. It just doesn't have cohesion around its products and its strategy. The fact, for example, that their AI products is named Gemini and they don't own Gemini.com is mind-blowing to me.
By the way, that I was showing there, someone asked what Google earnings will look like. I want to talk more about this, but the implied move is 5%, about $10. Yeah.
On Google?
On Tesla, it was 6%, I believe. Yeah, they have it at 6.08% or $20 is what's kind of priced in there. But yeah.
If I was to guess which direction, I would say Tesla would go down.
We knew you were going to say that. Predictable. No, I'm kidding. But here's the thing, though. I find it difficult with Tesla, though, because it's not going to move off the numbers. We kind of clearly know that. There are a lot of people were trying to point towards the energy business. It does have a really strong growth rate. When you kind of project that growth rate out a couple years, it actually does turn into a quite significant business that does have decent profit. I just don't know if it's there right now.
Agreed.
But you can definitely point to some excitement there. The whole conversation is going to be around Robotaxi and Optimus. And, the question is can he sell you something that's within the next year or two that will be the bad calls, or when Elon gets too pie in the sky? The good calls are when Elon is telling you themes that are coming within the next year or two. There was one comment on Elon's page that I did see, and then we should dig into Google here. Let me find this. It was this one. And listen, you could just say this is Elon just saying random stuff to say random stuff. But the next year comment here, it's clearly not going to be on skates next year. I feel like that's going to be a fact. But, I mean, there are certain things where we're talking about a timeline. Maybe you add Elon time, so you double that, and it's the end of 2027. But if Optimus is genuinely doing this in 2027, that is a big deal. So I'm listening for the timelines given. And clearly there's going to be a lot of politics questions. But yeah, Hamid.
I actually don't think as many politics questions as people focused on affordable vehicle, Optimus, Robotaxi rollout.
Yeah. And I think Optimus, like Tesla, is in the best position to be able to make a usable robot at scale based on their manufacturing capabilities, AI capabilities, just Elon's sheer will of being able to bring shit to life, which are typically impossible. So, 100%, I think Tesla is in the best position for the Optimus robot. But, does it mean actual material revenue numbers in 2026? No. 2027, maybe a little bit. 2028 and beyond, I could 100% buy into that. So that would be my view on that.
I did want to, just on the earnings side, look ahead a week, actually to next Tuesday, I believe, or next Wednesday, 1 week from today, which has
Tuesday? What? It's kind of gross you say that to me.
Robinhood.
Yeah, which is a big day. So it's a lot of your portfolio reporting, Hamid.
Yes, two of those companies, Meta and Robinhood, obviously, are like big portions of my portfolio. So super excited for that. I'm excited for today too. Google should be interesting. I mean, obviously Tesla should be interesting. Just one other point on Google that I would make is that these guys have literally the best AI. They invented some of the
Yeah, but
LLM
one thing I
techniques
will
that
say,
GPT
we had multiple of these headlines. You have not seen a headline, this AI researcher is leaving Meta, is leaving Nvidia. You have seen they are leaving Google DeepMind, and they got stolen from from Google DeepMind to Microsoft. That is scaring me a little bit.
Right. So the numbers that Mark Zuckerberg is throwing around is also like pretty insane, right? Like, so if the rumors that Sam Altman is saying is true, if the numbers that Sam Altman is quoted as saying is $100 million signing bonuses and even more than that over the course of a couple of years, those numbers are just staggering. Like you're talking about like 10 people costing $1 billion. That's insane numbers, right? Just signing bonuses. So like I will be very curious to see what Meta says on their.
Is that 100 million like? I just was curious how it's actually broken down. It's not like they're just sending them 100 million in cash, right? Is that like stock incentives? Is it over a certain amount of time, or is it just like, hey, you signed with us, here's 100 million? How's that happen?
Yeah. Oftentimes these things are vested over time, meaning like you get $100 million bonus, signing bonus, but you have to stay like 3 years or 4 years or whatever.
And it's equity, right?
And most likely it's equity, but it's like equity that you can sell. So it's real numbers, and that equity might even go up in value. So who knows what it ends up being. But the numbers are going to affect Meta's earnings basically, because there's no way around it. They can't like sugarcoat it. It'll be like $1 billion. If they spent $1 billion, it'll be $1 billion hit over the course of that time frame that they're giving that $1 billion to those 10 people. and it sounds like they might be trying to recruit way more than 10 people. So it'll be interesting to see how much that actually affects their numbers. But Mark Zuckerberg is going all out. One of the things I worry about is that what does that do when you give a $100 million signing bonus to somebody to bring in? What does that do to your existing team that is also very talented, right? Like, are they like, fuck you?
There was a headline
just rewarding the
Tesla and Nevada officials are reportedly in early talks on a robo-taxi service for coming to Nevada.
Yeah.
Well, clearly the bar is going up for everyone. You can't get these people on comp and then someone else. They're either going to leave your team or they're going to get a promotion somewhere else, or you're either going to get a promotion there or leave your team.
The funny headline that I saw was that like Apple can't even do this because their CEO doesn't even make these kind of money that they're offering to Meta is offering to AI researchers. So it's a fascinating.
What's happening with Apple and Perplexity? There were some rumors there.
I don't know if Apple is going to be able to pull off anything, to be honest. It's been going so slow that I've been extremely disappointed with Apple for a long time.
Speaking of which, Evan, on the Perplexity Comet browser, they just quote tweeted that. Shout out. I think Apple's in an interesting place. I'm pretty curious as to what they're going to say on earnings. To be honest, it feels like such a toss-up. Everyone else has pushed solely deep into AI, and they've fallen so far back. And so you're looking at it going, are you going to say something that's actually interesting? Are you going to talk about a new product or a phone there's no change between the 15 and the 16, like at all.
Yeah. AI was supposed to be it, but like they didn't deliver. It was just insane.
And then obviously, I mean, we'll see what happens with the 17. So yeah, Apple might be the most confusing one of the whole earnings season right now. What do you think, Evan?
Apple's next week, next Thursday.
What's your expectations? Loading the calls?
I have been trading calls honestly recently. I don't think it's a play around earnings. There has been some anecdotal data that numbers do seem to be coming in strong. I saw Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, I don't know what bank it was. Someone said that they saw the App Store demand was strong coming into the end of this quarter. It also was stuff around China sales. We're getting mixed data, but the latest ones I was seeing that it was recovering a little bit. I would expect these numbers to be solidly okay. So probably are going to beat expectations. I think when you look left on both Apple and Google, the bar is definitely a lot lower than some of these other names. So Google reporting today, I think, is a good example of it. It has had a nice move and maybe played a little bit of catch up, but there's still more catch up that could do. And that doesn't mean the stocks can go higher, but what it does mean is the bar is lower, which, you know, it's never too low for Magnificent Seven companies. Apple still does have a very large PE. Google is still a $2 trillion company, whatever it is, but it's lower than NVIDIA's bar. So that's what I would say to that one.
Yeah, NVIDIA obviously will cap things off. We can get to that a little later. Let's just take a look at the other names for a second that are on here today. CMG, Chipotle for a second. This is obviously a long-time Ackman name that a lot of people were paying attention to. I don't think that it's necessarily had as much hype recently. Let me take a look real quick at the chart as well for CMG. Yeah, we've been pulling back, especially in the last several sessions. Their last earnings report ended up being really good for them. They were trading at, I mean, this is post-split, but $48.71. They ended up running all the way up to $58. So a nice move off that. But the one before that, they had really kind of pulled back from. So I'm curious with this one. It hasn't had really much movement at all since early 2024. It's just, for the most part, sat within this range after having a huge climb, obviously, from, you know, basically doubling from 2022. So I am curious with Chipotle. It can move a decent amount on earnings, though, from what I've seen. Like, you can get 10, 15% moves on Chipotle. Also, I will say, I'm a lover of Chipotle, so I'm rooting for it. And it sadly is the only thing that they don't have here in Puerto Rico. So,
Oh, wow.
so yeah, we'll see.
So more room for expansion.
Unfortunately, they won't have as many purchases from me this past quarter, which does make me a little bit more bearish on their revenue, but I did my best to buy it.
Don't worry, I made up for it yesterday.
Yeah. What do you think when it comes to Chipotle?
I went for the sign in, so now I can actually look on here. Here's what the chart looks like on there.
Yeah, you can see it had a huge move and then just bunched up the last year and a half.
I'm no chartist. I like to do some male astrology and draw some lines. I mean, you could talk. I'm just going to play around.
You know, I read this book called
Hamid, this is my favorite comment.
The astrology? Or the
I put it on the screen.
Oh, what was it? Hamid the Rich Uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that has really shaped my investment thesis, which is like to sort of like buy companies that you use their products and you know and love. And you know, Chipotle sort of falls into that category. If the average Joe who wants to invest their money and like knows nothing about stocks, when they encounter the first moment that they encounter a company that they love and it's public, if they just buy it and forget it and you know like look at it 10 years later, they could do so well. Like the first time you bought an Apple product and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. If you bought Amazon product and you're like impressed by it, Netflix, you know, Chipotle, Lululemon, right? Like these companies have like all done so well. It's super rare that you encounter a product that you absolutely love in your life and the company is public, and then the company ends up sort of like dying and going out of business. It's unlikely that happens. It does happen. It's not that it doesn't happen, but that's a very easy way to sort of pick stocks. And that's one of the things that you know Peter Lynch in that One Up on Wall Street sort of talks about, is like how some common Joe Schmo people like outsmart Wall Street, because Wall Street is constantly trying to evaluate, you know, what these companies are worth, and they get it wrong all the time. They're often adjusting their price targets after the fact. It's kind of funny, everyone had a sell rating. All of Wall Street analysts have sell ratings on Robinhood when it was $8 a share, and at 100, they all have buy ratings. It's kind of funny.
All right, I'm sorry. I I was doing some astrology of drawing those lines, and I asked the AI to tell me if it thinks it's going lower, and now it's throwing indicators on here.
Oh, it's adding indicators?
It is adding the indicators right now.
That's crazy.
I mean, I genuinely thought I was just gonna get an answer of yes or no. I'm feeling this is a good bounce spot. Maybe if we have some good numbers here. What is it gonna say? Well, here, see, like I was just kind of playing around with these lines, and oh, what, did I just do that?
Someone asked if XAI and Tesla could merge in the future. XAI and Tesla probably will not merge in the future. Elon Musk said that in a recent tweet, even though it would help solve.
No, he did not actually say that. Someone was suggesting that Tesla should buy XAI, and he said no, or something to that effect. My view is that he's actually going to do the reverse, meaning XAI will likely buy Tesla in a reverse merger, essentially. And the way he can do that is by taking XAI public first. And just for sake of argument, let's say XAI is worth 200 billion, and Tesla is worth a trillion. Yeah. So traditionally the bigger company buys the smaller company, but really, like, either way can work as long as the board of directors agree, right? But the reason I think it'll be XAI buying Tesla is because one of the biggest problems that Elon has is the whole control issue on Tesla. And I guarantee you he doesn't have that problem on XAI, meaning like he probably has super voting shares on XAI to solve that problem, irrespective of what percentage of the company he owns. So if he does a reverse merger of having XAI buy Tesla and bring it underneath, all his shares basically remain XAI shares, which he would have super voting capability on. This is all speculation. And then he would maintain control irrespective of how much of the company he sells in the future. So that is his number one concern, is someone else having control of his companies. And that's why I think the reverse is far more likely than Tesla buying XAI.
It's interesting.
By the way, I got an answer back. It said neutral to slightly bullish on Chipotle. We'll see. Now I asked it to give me a Tesla thing.
Based on astrology.
Yeah, well, based on my charts, my mail astrology. We'll get back to the things. Sorry, that would just honestly threw me off. Yeah, Chipotle is a big one. Also IBM. Have you guys watched IBM stock at all recently? That one has been ripping.
I've not looked at IBM.
Click on the price tab. But by the way, you should turn on your estimates. Show estimates too, right there.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, that makes it super easy. But
nice.
And then do like 1 year.
Yeah. So year to date, it's up 30%. 1 year, it's up 55%. Keep in mind this is IBM, like I said. The 5 year is not as impressive, so maybe it's just playing some catch up. Long base, big breakout, but
right.
Yeah, IBM has been having itself a year so far. This isn't the type of company that's up 30%. What's the S&P 500 up? Less than 10%. So what is this? 6xing the S&P 500 so far this year? That's not an IBM type move. There's a theme of a lot of these old kind of names. I might have a little bit of a Honeywell position. That one is about the S&P 500. Intel's been struggling probably. Intel's outperforming this year. I mean, don't look at some other time frames, but on the year to date.
Evan, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still tripping on the browser adding the freaky technical analysis stuff.
I know. It was getting me too distracted. I had to bring it back, but that was crazy.
Is there something, I'm wondering if you could do it inside of Earnings Hub as well with something like.
No, I definitely could. I could ask you questions.
Yeah. Like, I'm curious to me, like, what questions you kind of have about, like, to ask AI about Earnings Hub to, like, look through it. It's interesting. Did he freeze for you too?
No, I'm writing something.
No,
I'm saying Earnings Hub has a ranking system. Can you go through every stock and give me the top 10 most popular popular stocks on the website. We'll see what it does. So if you guys didn't know, like if you click in here, it will say rank number 3 right up here. I don't know if I gave it enough data, but I would love to see the top 10.
I want to talk rankings for a second. Hamid, how should people who are watching, by the way, awesome stream. Thanks everyone that's been tuning in. We're going to run for another 10 minutes. 10,000 of y'all so far tuned in. Hamid, how should people be using the ranking system during earnings season?
Also the earnings hub score, by the way, too, I'd say. Whoa, what's this?
Yeah, so that's the Earnings Hub 500. Have you seen that?
No, I've never seen this.
That's 500 most popular page. It's funny that Perplexity is like.
Wait, how do you get to it? Wait, and what's this EHS thing at the top? Earnings hub score. Gotcha. Okay, never mind. I get it.
Earnings Hub score. Yeah. So the Earnings Hub 500 is in the footer. There's a link to it in the footer. There's also a link to it from the EHS.
It didn't do a good job.
Oh,
or maybe this is no. Oh, this is just from the week it did. Okay.
There you go.
All right, that's fine. That's a prompt problem, but
you like that one, Evan?
No, but I'm more shocked that it found me. Oh, the Earnings Hub 500. I have never. So is this the most popular one? I did not know this was a thing.
Oh, I never seen this before. What?
Yeah. We just launched this a couple weeks ago. It's the 500 most popular stocks on Earnings Hub, and we use this list to sort of come up with basically baselines for, or think of it as like bell curves, like the way your professors graded your school papers for stocks, right? So bell curve on trailing 12 months revenue growth, trailing 12 months EPS growth, as well as PE ratio and price sales ratio. So we use these 500 stocks to determine bell curves on those 4 metrics. And then we give you how a particular stock ranks on those 4 metrics in the EHS score. So, so that's the bell curve right there for each one of those 4 metrics, and then an overall one, which is what the top chart shows, the overall metric. So and then if you, for example, put in your favorite stock at the very top, it'll show you where on that bell curve that stock falls. So Apple, you can kind of see where that line is, the dashed line at the top score, falls in the C range, which on the bell curve, rather than the A range, for example. Bumble gets a D largely because it has had a one-time. So the Earnings Hub score, one of the key things to remember is that it's not end-all be-all, because it doesn't take into consideration one-time events or extreme numbers on a particular thing. Like if something has an extreme number, for example, Palantir has an extremely high price sales ratio, but it doesn't like penalize it enough for that. It's just 25% of the score. So Palantir gets a B, despite, in my view, Palantir should probably be a D. But it is a sort of a good shorthand of being able to sort of see what is going on relative to other stocks in the Earnings Hub score.
One thing I thought was interesting is actually when you're talking about Bumble, you did bring up the price to sales one. There are a couple of other companies really low price. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of reasons for different ones of these, but I know this Oscar one, a lot of people actually became fans of. It's interesting to see that here.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, you can click on the bars at the very.
This is a Cathie Wood name.
Teladoc. Yeah.
Which one?
I mean, this is not good for a high growth.
Teladoc. Right.
The old TDOC earnings moves. Gosh, I remember this thing was a classic for a 30% move.
Interesting. Yeah. But I think we're in a good place on this one. That 45 minutes flew by. We got some more comments here. We got daily stock picks. Shout out Gary, Mount Rushmore, right here with 2 faces in the blank camera.
Have you looked at the weekly? Have you seen the down 97%?
I have not. I will look in a second.
2.5 years.
Sorry, just the people are saying nice things, so I gotta highlight them on the.
Stage. I highlighted it. I put it on the screen before.
Let's look at TDOC. TDOC weekly.
Look at the weekly. It's bad.
Now I have these random indicators on here that I don't know what are, but yeah, this doesn't look good. Have you used Robinhood Legend at all, Hamid?
I can't stand charts like that, to be honest.
You could
with you.
do
like
no,
it
you
just
could change
like
it.
if
Charts you like?
to I have used Legend, but like there's
You can do
I
this.
use,
I prefer Earnings Hub charts to everything else,
hey,
which is why they are the way they are.
does it let you
To
do
me, this
technical?
additional set of data, it just adds layers of complexity and noise that should not be in anyone's investment thesis, in my opinion. But you know, people think they can make more money
You like
day
a little bit of
trading.
astrology.
Cool.
Sometimes I just had fun with that. Honestly, I just sit there and I will say, even for the longer term guy, I see these levels. We come back and tap them a lot of times. It's not like these crazy
What
play
what have you made most money on?
long term
Buying
investing.
and
Yeah,
forgetting?
long term investing. But I will
I
say,
mean, basically everyone comes back to that. Like it's just like, dude, that's how Warren Buffett, the world's richest investor, has done it, is like long-term investing. Why are we going after this short-term day trading stuff? Is like I don't really understand it. That's not my mentality. So like not all of that additional chart stuff.
but I will
is
say, I
noise to
really
me.
do think you can use technical analysis in your long term investing to maybe get slightly better entry points, slightly better exit points. Where is this going? Here's a level it's chopped at. A lot of the times, this is an area that might end to be like, hey, you need to take a breather here. So I agree with what you're saying completely. I'm a long term investor for a reason. I have definitely seen more on these charts, and I've seen stuff respect levels like, Amazon at $200, it touched it like, that was a real level. And, some people are going to use that for trades. Some people can use that for their long-term investing, make it a little better. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't actually care that much. But I will say we did have 11,000 people tuning in here. Little coffee sip from the squad there. We got a lot of live earnings coming. The squad's going to be joining on. Yeah, I know he actually doesn't drink any caffeine, so I knew it wasn't really coffee. We got the spaces open up in a second. We're going to be live for some live earnings. Hamid will be joining us over there. Get the numbers out instantly. We're going to also be listening to the earnings calls. We're going to be using Earnings Hub to do that, by the way. But Hamid, is there anything?
Evan, we didn't even talk about Bumble today.
We did not talk about Bumble.
Yeah,
Okay,
Evan, screen share your Bumble app real quick. Sorry.
No, honestly, I would never. It's an L. I'll just let you guys know. You can assume it's just an L, and I'll let you guys run with that one. Bumble does not work for me, but this is something we'll talk about maybe next week when we do this again. We had too much to talk about. We kind of knew this was going to happen. These are just fun conversations, and having the chat, being able to share our screens. Just there's too much to do sometimes. But look at this chart, horrible chart, unless you got in like right there, which is where Hamid got me in. I'll show you the actual position next time when we have more time. But yeah, I appreciate you all. Come join us on the spaces in a second. Hamid, is there anything you want to leave the people with, by the way? I know we were using Earnings Hub a lot on this one.
No, I mean, if people have feedback for me, feel free to send it my way. I read everything. So thanks.
Love it. We're going to do this again probably next week. So we hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, deal with it. Come join us on the spaces. Have a great one, team.
Take care, buddy. Appreciate y'all.